There's been a shakeup in the AP rankings, as was to be expected. Let's start with the humorous aspect of this. Iowa returns to the rankings post Caitlin Clark, which is deserved. Obviously, they are undefeated on the season. They've looked really sharp. Lucy Olson has been excellent, but they come in at number 22. You get it. I get it. It's kind of right on the nose, right? I doubt that really factored into the rankings. But of course, people are having some fun with that number, and Iowa re-entering there at 22. And of course, that team with Caitlin Clark had a strong bond with its fans, which was continued, by the way, in a stepping away, moving away from basketball announcement by Clark's partner in the law firm, Monica, who took to her social media account and announced that she was actually leaving basketball to pursue becoming a doctor.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a day in my life. But instead of me explaining literally anything, you're going to have to guess because I'm going to be giving a life update instead. I'm going to try to get through all the questions people ask me, but I don't know how long this video is, so we'll see how many we get through. And I'm going to do this in one run. So basically, I played overseas last year in Hungary. I loved it. When traded for the world. Amazing country, amazing people. And once I got done with it, I was studying for the MCAT the whole time while I was over there. Got back, took the MCAT. I think some of you may know, but my ultimate dream has kind of always been to be a doctor. And I feel very fulfilled with basketball. I feel like I've accomplished so many things. I've become a new person because of it. It's really made me the best version of myself. And because of that, I feel very content with it. And I'm kind of ready to take the next step. I feel good about it. I want to be a doctor. And so that's kind of where my life has pivoted to.
So you understand she is pursuing becoming a doctor, no longer pursuing basketball. Good for her. Good for her to know what she wants to do and her goals. Kate Martin put a positive comment on that video as well. So there is your Iowa aspect of this update. Now, as far as the rest of the rankings go, here's a look at the top 25, where it was a shakeup at the top. Of course, UCLA moves to number 1 after beating South Carolina. UConn stays at near the top at number 2. Notre Dame, number 3. South Carolina, number 4. The rest of it, not too crazy of shakeups. Obviously, Iowa being the big entrant there at number 22. But to me, I would have Notre Dame and UCLA at 1 and 2 in some way, shape, or form, because they're the two teams that have actually beaten a real opponent. Obviously, Notre Dame beat USC over the weekend. Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles, best backcourt in the country. To me, that makes them a clear national championship threat, if not my favorite to win the national championship. UCLA destroys South Carolina, so I got no problem with them at number 1. Betts, Barker, that's a tandem, right? Like, this is a squad with a lot of size. They're going to be tough on the defensive end of the basketball court. Notre Dame also has Sonia Cintron, so those are two really talented teams, and they've got the best wins. So to me, I would have them at 1 and 2 in some way, shape, or form. I understand what the preseason rankings say, but I don't actually get giving the preseason rankings too much weight because they don't mean anything. I mean, nothing had actually transpired because let's be real, after seeing UCLA destroy them, South Carolina doesn't look like the best team in the country or a team that was the best team in the country. Just because they won last year doesn't make them the best team in the country. They lost Camila Cardozo. UConn very well might be the best team, but they haven't played anybody. They're favored by 45 points every game. So because you can change the rankings every week, I would have personally put Notre Dame and UCLA 1 and 2 in some way or order. And I think it's fair to make UCLA number 1 since they beat the previous number 1. Then you slot Notre Dame in at number 2, and I would have UConn at number 3. Finally, the number 7 team was just tested. This just happened. LSU with a narrow victory over Washington. I think this game was in the Bahamas. A narrow victory over Washington where they were trailing by a good margin. But my girl Flaugier comes through down the stretch of that game with a couple of big buckets, as you can see here. At this point, it was 65-61 Washington with just 1:35 left. You see her getting to the cup with the and one right there. We still got a ways to go as far as like getting all the broadcasting up to date on. Yeah, there you go. There's the locales with women's basketball. Now that the popularity has boomed, since the demand is there, everything else needs to increase as well. And this was another clutch Flau'jae bucket down the stretch of that game. Big foe gets it back out here. Quick drive. She just got this like gliding natural hang time that I appreciate. You know, she's explosive in that regard. The way I think Kim Mulkey said she floats, that would be fair. Flau'jae can float while she's out there hooping, like floats to the rim, gets the finish. Really beautiful finish from Flau'jae on that play. So there you have it. The rating shakeup, the big news, South Carolina down, which is to be expected considering they were number one and got smacked around. Notre Dame, obviously going to be high up on there after that big LSU win. They move up a few spots, I think 3 spots to number 3. UConn stays where they were. LSU shouldn't drop too far next week unless they lose between now and then because they held on in that 7th spot. Washington was 6-1 going into that game. And finally, Iowa makes its return to the rankings. Jan Jensen's first year as the head coach, taking over for Lisa Bluter, Lucy Olson, the transfer over there. And they come in that 22nd spot. That 22nd spot. And oh, by the way, one other quick little note while I'm doing this and while I'm here, because I'm not going to do an entirely new video on this, but it's worth saying congratulations to Juju Watkins. Since I'm talking about Caitlin Clark's number in regards to Iowa, I could talk about Juju Watkins, the second NCAA athlete to sign with State Farm following Caitlin Clark. So, hi, I'm Juju from State Farm. So, the Juju's capitalizing right now. She's getting a lot of deals. Good for her. Good for her. And you're going to see that NIL money continue to come in for players. Oh, finally, one other quick college basketball note, since this is sort of more of a roundup on various topics. Harmony Turner, the standout at Harvard. There was a comment, somebody had said she would transfer to another school. This is what she said to that she had once had big numbers thrown her way in regards to that. And she decided to go to Harvard, obviously. And then she also added that she would never transfer. She added this statement here, which I can pull up for you real fast. She said, hey, so like, I'm not transferring ever, not even thinking about it or wanting to. I love my school, but more importantly, my team. But she did tell a subsequent poster that she was going to declare for the draft. So there's that. And there is your rankings update. I don't have any sort of 22 tie-in for the length of this video. My apologies to Unrivaled.